Welcome to the DNA Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Pugh, and I have a special episode for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So grab your D20s, grab your PCs, grab your PS5s now. We're going to play Baldur's Gate. We have Holly Marie Michael on the show with us. She is a voice actress and an actress. She is the voice of Sazza plus 17 other voices on this game. Now, this is... I know a lot of you are like, well, Steve, you really don't do video games, which is true. I normally don't do video games, but we did an episode on this because this game is just so phenomenal. And I somehow got the luck of being able to talk to this wonderful, adorable, just amazing person who you do a lot of villainous roles. You love to play the bad guy, Holly.
I do. It's really fun.
It is fun to do. I get to do it as a DM, which is great. I love playing the villainous characters because then you get to mess with your players and stuff like that. But you have been a part of this phenomenon because it is a phenomenon of a game. It has broken a lot of Larian Studios alone has broken so many stereotypes of what a company can build games. The last time I checked, they sold over 10 million copies of this game so far, right? That's insane.
That was that big a number. That's crazy.
So I want you to think about that for a second. There is a potentiality that at least if everybody does one character, Sazza has probably been killed 10 million times.
Oh no, poor Sazza. She's not that bad, I swear.
She's not that. No, she's not nearly that bad. I actually, because I knew I was going to interview, I had to play a playthrough where I had to save her, and I had to save you just because I was like, no, there's got to be at least one. We got to break the statistics here, but you did. So before we get completely enthralled into Baldur's Gate and Sazza and everything that you did with it, all the MoCap and just like the absolute insanity that was coming into this, let's get to know you here. And we kind of talked a little bit before the show, and I always ask this question: are you nerdy? And you started giggling over there, and I love that. That makes me so happy. Actually, before we get into your nerdiness, let's talk about the origin story that is Holly Marie Michael. How did you get into acting?
It's actually just something that I have always done. Since I was a little kid, I went to the local drama club and I've always just done it. I went to sort of a bigger drama at school as I got older, and I'm always cast as creatures or slightly strange characters. I've been a parrot on stage, and what else have I done? All sorts of funny little critters. And from that, I kind of started doing more voice work, I suppose. The drama club that I went to was one of the first to perform High School Musical, if you remember that, on stage in the UK. And so the Disney Channel UK asked us to go and record an advert for them. But we had to do like the dance, we're all in this together, if you remember.
So first off, I've never seen any of the High School Musicals. I don't do musicals, but I love it. Can you do the dance again? That was really fun.
I can remember. Don't test me. But we got asked to go to Disney in the UK and record an advert for them when they were advertising something. And I was just really cheeky when we were there. And I said to the person directing us, listen, if you're ever looking for a voice actor, that's what I want to do. So give me a call. And they were like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, give us your email. And I did, and didn't expect to hear anything from them. And then 2 weeks later, they got in touch, and I started recording stuff at Disney. So I did all like the coming up next, only on Disney, that sort of stuff for them. And then through that, I got a voice agent, and then it sort of went from there, really. So it's been mostly voice acting that I do, really. I've started doing more sort of, I guess, physical acting, which is actually thanks to Baldur's Gate 3, because doing motion capture and physically acting made me realize how much I missed doing that. But yeah, that's how it all started.
That's awesome. So I've got to know, because you were the voice for the Disney UK. Whenever you would come on, would you like pull kids aside or your like family aside and be like, that's my voice. That's my voice.
Yes, and I do it now. When I do anything, sometimes I do that sort of ident stuff as well. Now I'm like, that's me. Did you hear? Did you hear everybody? Did you hear? That was me. That's me. Like, yes, we know.
We're very proud of you. We're very proud.
So you don't have to have the kids' channels on all the time.
But that's fun. And now you get to go, because I know that you guys don't really have a reason to do Thanksgiving, but you do have Christmas in the UK, so you do have your holiday dinner. You get to say, what have you, when everybody says, what have you been up to? You get to be like, well, I was a goblin in Baldur's Gate 3, and I was, all these things. And I was like, oh, cool. What did you do? I did heart surgery. Yeah, I'm a goblin. So
Trumps that.
um and so, because you were doing all the stuff for Disney and everything, and what made you want to continue to ensue that with the voice acting side? Was it just because you felt like you had a distinctive voice, or was it just something? Was it because you got to sit in your PJs, and when you voice act? What made you decide that was the way you wanted to go with your career?
I just love it, and I can't really explain why. I mean,
Okay.
I stop talking, to be honest. That's kind of I talk all the time, and so if I can actually do that as a job, then I should. But I must say that is a bit of a draw. Is that you don't doesn't really matter what you look like as it does when you're physically acting. So
um so going from there, um you have done a lot of the voice acting here. You have done stuff for Disney. You did oh my gosh, Blippi. You did the Blippi
I
cartoon.
did. I was an aunt from West Virginia.
Okay, so all right. Even though I don't have the accent, I am from the South. So I would love to hear a British version of a Southern accent
Oh
here,
no, I've
madam.
just absolutely put myself in it now, haven't I?
You have.
Think about what I had to say. Hang on a second. Um, hang on. I can't remember what I had to say. Um, My name's Anita the ant. Follow me, Blippi. We're going on a picnic. I think there
I
was
love
something.
it.
I
Hey,
didn't know that. Sorry for anybody who's from West Virginia who heard that. I apologise profusely. But when I was
no.
recording, I they were recording it in the US and they
Mm,
did this. They zoomed me, and the
mm.
guy was like, you in the UK?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "I thought you were actually a middle-aged woman from West Virginia." So
Well, that's awesome. When you do,
I don't know.
do
So that's why I say it's West Virginia. I don't know if it is, but that's what he said. So
nice. Do when you hear people, let's say like Robert Downey Jr. or somebody like that, when you hear actors and they try to impersonate a British accent, do you just sit there and go, no, not even a little bit?
sometimes some of them are dreadful, some of them are great. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's probably exactly the same way around, isn't it? Right? If I try and do your accent, I would butcher it.
I try to do voice acting, or I do voices for my characters in D&D. Most of them end up Scottish, and it's very terrible. So I will try to do stuff. I'm
Can I hear the Scottish now?
oh, see, I put you out. I called you out, and I was gonna be like, hi, you're not gonna call me out, but oh my God. Let's see here. Oh my actually, I'm going to read something that I read that I have to read. Um like I
Giving
will
away
edit
campaign
it.
support.
I'm trying to find something I can read. You're gonna put me on the spot.
I'm so sorry.
Dude, listeners, you can't see this, but I am red in the face right now, like beyond. Called me out of my crap. How dare you on my podcast? All right, I'm a professional. I can do this. That's my. Are there any specific actors or actresses out there whose work has been profound impact on you and your acting career, on your career choices?
Hey,
How bad was that? Please be honest. That was terrible.
Amanda, I believe it.
Just like I said, I just went Scottish. I was like, I don't know what to do right now.
Just go with it. Just go with it.
It's like I'll just go with the Scottish one. Um, I do voices actually when I'm bored. I'll sit there and I'll do the voices of like random characters and I'll have them talk to each other, but not when I'm with a professional because I know I'm being judged.
I know to tell this kid. I doesn't mean I just, as I said, my aunt was not great, but you know.
Oh, it's all right. Like, look, I learned from nobody takes anybody with a southern accent like seriously when you're trying to do voices and stuff. And like I feel like because I wanted to be a paleontologist and I felt like if you're going to be, I'm not saying southern people are dumb, not far from it, but like nobody takes a southern accent very seriously. And so I always just like learn to hide my accent. However, you get a couple drinks in me and I'm like, it'll come out so quick. Like certain words like Henry and Penn, it comes out really quick, but I've learned to hide it.
Next episode, you get drunk and I want to hear it.
But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you, madam. So let's get back into this. Get back to my questions here for you. Being in the entertainment industry often requires, a hectic schedule. How do you manage that with your every day-to-day life?
I can only do it because of my family. I'm really lucky. I live near my mum,
Mm-hmm.
which is really helpful. So I've got two kids. I've got a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old. So my 5-year-old just started school, and so it's sometimes it is literally like, "Are you available tomorrow to come and record this?" And so I have to be like, "Mum, can you take the baby?" So thankfully she's very helpful.
Nice.
And also, yeah, and my husband as well. He's like at the moment, he's just off doing bedtime by himself. It's great. I don't have to help. So yeah, the only reason I can do it is because I have that help. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to. Because a lot of it is very last minute.
That's
And you'll sometimes you'll audition for something and you won't hear anything back for months, and then all of a sudden it's like, you got the part, are you available next week? Like that. So yeah, only because I've got lots of helping hands.
do you practice your voices with your kids? Like you're sitting there talking to them, trying to get did you practice Sazza trying to get your kids to eat vegetables? Because that I would absolutely be doing that, I promise you. Or
I do when I read bedtime stories and stuff. That's when I'm like, I'm gonna practice a little bit here, get some voices in. But I have done a couple before, which have apparently been too scary for my son, and he told
oh
me I'm not.
really?
So.
Wow. Now we were talking earlier, and again, ladies and gentlemen, because I do have an international audience, and sometimes I don't realize things. Like I didn't realize Halloween was becoming bigger in the UK, and like and which is like the nerdiest, the bestest holidays in the entire world. I promise you. Um, so are you going to do Sazza for Halloween?
Oh my goodness, I should, shouldn't I? That would be really cool. I was actually going to go
Yes.
as a giant rat because I have a giant rat costume. And my son was going to be a cat and the baby was going to be dressed as a cheese. But
Oh, I like that.
I might have to rethink it now. But I
You
am going to Comic Con at the end of October and I might cosplay Sazza for that.
you really, really should, ladies and gentlemen, look for Sazza. You got to look. Oh my God, you've got to do it. And then you just got to have people like air quote, loot you and give them like a plastic spoon and all the random things that the goblins had on them in the game. Just like give them bones and stuff.
It'll be great fun.
Oh my
Okay.
God, it would be the best. I promise you. Um, so let's kind of transition just a little bit here. Uh, how the heck did you get into like goblins? Like, how did you come up with the idea of Sazza? What knowledge did you go beforehand to gather for this role?
So, well, yeah, I guess I'll talk about this one now.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first actually got the audition for the part,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know, I had no idea that it was anything to do with Dungeons and Dragons. Whenever we do video games, I've done quite a lot, and whenever I do a video game, you don't get told what it is. It's got a project name. It's
Mm-hmm.
project blah blah blah. I didn't know that's what I was doing. I auditioned for several characters, so I did like there was a gnome and an elf and a goblin, and instead of it being Sazza and Sazza's lines, it was just like, this is a goblin, this is what they're like, this is the accent, and here are the lines. And there's little pictures, like artists' depictions of what each of the characters look like. Um, So it was just like looking at the picture and obviously reading all of the descriptions and things, and just kind of what I thought a goblin would be like. Like I do love fantasy, so I've read a lot of books, I've watched lots of films and things, and that's just how I picture a goblin, like sort of shoulders,
just scrunched over.
yeah, and that sort of. It said they wanted like sort of a Cockney accent for it, and yeah, so it was kind of a bit, yeah, that I got the description and stuff through, and that's just kind of how I picture the goblins. And I've looked at pictures like artworks online of them as well, and how people draw them, and I don't know, that's just kind of how I embodied one, I suppose.
So when you saw Sazza when she was fine, did you get to see her when she was before she was done, like the art concept of her, or did you not get to see her until she was in the game?
No, I didn't get to see her, so it wasn't her when the picture. It was just
Yeah.
like a general goblin,
Mm-hmm.
and then sort of at one point I saw her, but it didn't look like the finished product.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so no, I didn't actually get to see what she looked like until like the game came out. Yeah,
And
it
what'd you
was.
think?
I love her. She's great. But the whole
Oh.
thing was kind of a bit of a mystery. So I think this is another thing that people don't really know. But like I say, you don't. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
it was anything to do with D&D.
Mm-hmm.
I went and filmed the first couple of sessions, and I didn't know. Then on the, I think it must have been the third session. So the first couple of sessions I was just doing Sazza. Then the third session I was going to play a tiefling. I was like, a tiefling? I think I know what this is. And then all the engineers started saying Baldur's Gate, and I was like, what? Oh my gosh! And that's a little clue that I suddenly was like, oh my god, I'm doing a Dungeons and Dragons game. Yeah, so it's all shrouded in secrecy to start with. I didn't even know. It was a very
Were
nice.
now when you were doing this because you did motion capture, you did MoCap.
Mm-hmm.
So because I want to know what it was like to doing MoCap, but were you doing MoCap in your initial goes, or was that later on? Because when you were doing your first and second session, was it you were just doing voice lines, or were you doing voice lines and the MoCap?
No, so we did everything at once. It was
Everything
entirely
at once.
everything at once. I think this is the thing, and this is something that not many people know at all. But we recorded dialogue and body all in one. So we had
Mm,
our outfits on, our lovely suits, with all the little sensors, and then we had like a microphone that came down over the top of our head,
mm.
and then headphones, and the microphone was like attached to a transmitter at your waist, so they could capture the sound and the physicality all in one. So everything that you see in the game, all the movements from every single character, every single one, all of the, all of the, all of the, oh my god,
Animations.
C's, non-playable. Yeah, I couldn't get my P's and C's mixed up.
It's all good.
All of the NPCs, all of the NPCs, doesn't matter if they've only got like one line, all of
Mm.
them motion captured. So every little movement, every little twitch, everything you see was physically acted out. So
What was like? Walk us through like an average day of this.
okay, cool. So go in and get changed into the motion capture suit. So it's almost like a velvety suit, and you have to tie your hair up and have a little cap on as well. You even have shoe coverings, so you're all covered in this velvet suit thing. And then they
Uh-huh.
put the sensors in certain places over your body.
Uh-huh.
Uh, you're up to the microphone, and then you go into this room which is called the volume, and it's got cameras everywhere at all different angles all over the place, so it can catch you from every angle. Then you've got a screen in front of you, which has got all of your dialogue on it. And then
Mm.
there's a screen next to that, which has got a picture of your avatar on. And they look like Power Rangers. And you've got to choose the colour of your Power Ranger at every session, which is fun. And then there's a big window, either to the left or right.
Mm.
And then through the window is where all of the engineers and the directors and everybody sit. So yeah, and then that's it. Off you go. You can only
What time does that usually start for you guys? Like, were you getting there like 3 o'clock in the morning, or was this like lunchtime sort of thing?
Yeah, no, it depends really, but it was quite because it's quite heavy going,
Mm.
because of the way you have to stand, and everything when you're doing it. That you can, I think it's the maximum is like 4 hours that you do
Oh
in
wow,
one go. Yeah, so
that's
uh,
insane.
and then yeah, so it was like the 4 hour sessions were like the longest you do.
So for 4 hours a day, you were pretending to be a goblin, and Was it weird? Was it weird? Like, I mean, I know you're a professional. Truly, I understand that. I respect that. But at some point, you got to be like, were you embarrassed a little bit? Were you be like, this seems kind of silly? Like, I get it. Like, case in point, I just had to pretend to do a horrible voice, but like, it's fun. But you're like, all right, I'm a goblin. Or you're just like, no, I've got this.
I mean, the goblin was fine. It was when I had to be the mummy, and I don't know if you've come across Zara the mummy in the circus.
No,
Who
I haven't yet. I stopped. I've been because I keep going back and discovering new things and creating new. I'm a sociopath for like doing all the stuff.
But when you meet her, you'll see why. Is that she doesn't speak. She literally just goes, mm. So they had actually the dialogue, what I was supposed to be saying, but it was like, but just in ums. So don't actually say this. You just have to make your mouth shut and you just have to, mm.
Oh my gosh.
That was silly. And that was the ones. So when you're doing this, you have to stand in base pose,
Mm-hmm.
which is like your pose that you start with. Then you do your dialogue and you move around, and then you have to go back to base pose
Mm-hmm.
every time there's a line of dialogue. And so we were starting in base pose. I'd be going, then back to base pose. And then everybody would start laughing. Ridiculous. But yeah, it was really fun. That was the one I was a bit like, what is my job?
He was like giggling with you because you're all professionals, and God bless you guys because like you're sitting there having to do all these ridiculous things. I couldn't imagine just being there very like that was acceptable. Continue on.
Yeah, that's true. But it was yeah, that was the silliest thing. The one that got me thinking about my career choices.
You go home to your kids, mommy, what did you do?
Mummy is right.
um, but Baldur's Gate 3, this is a game that is set in the D&D universe. You know, how familiar were you with it beforehand? And, has your knowledge like progressed because of this game?
Yeah, absolutely. So I obviously knew about D&D. I was a big fan of it, or am a big fan of the 80s cartoon. And I was watching. I watched the film. Did you see the film that came out? Was it last year that came out? Um,
With Chris Pine and all
yeah,
of them. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I actually nerd flex here. I don't know if you guys got them in the UK, but in the States, some of them they came with a giant D20 as your popcorn bucket,
oh,
and
cool.
so I was able to get one. I didn't get it because I got it because of a really good friend. Shout out to Mark. Thank you, buddy. He went the night of because I have kids and trying to go on a Thursday night showing, midnight showing is almost impossible for me. And he got me one. And there was even some theaters that got the fat dragon, Thimberchod.
Cool.
They got a
I
bucket with
love
him.
that. It's so cute.
So, but yes, I am so sorry. But yes, I love that movie.
Yeah,
So
it's
good.
great. It's like in that, there's a bit when they're doing the maze
Yes.
at the end, and then the character from the 80s cartoon are in it, and I was like,
Yes. Oh yeah.
anyway, yeah. But so obviously I knew about it. I've got I remember everybody playing Baldur's Gate 2 when I was
Mm.
younger, as well, and but the game, the way you play the game and everything, I've definitely learned more about since doing this.
Mm.
Um, and I haven't really have an awful lot of time because I say I've got a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old and everything as well. But I'm very excited to play a tabletop game soon. One of my friends, my good friend Richard, who is an excellent DM, is currently writing a campaign for us because I can't wait to like get
Oh my
playing.
God, yes.
That's going to be really cool. But yeah, I've definitely learned more about it, and it's just this. It's just so rich. There's so much. It's such an incredible world. I love it, and I'm so excited I got to be a small part of it. Um, yeah, I've definitely
You
learned
are
more.
you are forever in history of the D&D, the nerd culture lore. And this game that you have been a part of has such a huge impact. It has quite literally added to a new fandom. It has made it its own little cult, if you will. And that, you know, at any point when you were making this game, because eventually you did find out you were making a Baldur's Gate game, did you think it was going to be the phenomenon that it has become?
I don't think anybody could have realized like how amazing it would be and how well received it's been. I think I didn't realize, just naively, that I think this is the first time that they've ever done motion capture and
Mm-hmm.
recording for a video game ever. And I think even from like a technology point of view or like a video game point of view in general, it's really kind of broken boundaries and really sort of changed the game a bit. But I didn't realize that when I was doing it.
Mm.
Um, and it took 4 years. I was working on it for 4 years. It's and everybody who I worked on it with was really fun and everybody very down to earth. So I don't like people didn't get the impression that they were like, this is going to be this and this, and I guess that's quite good because it was less pressure. um, but yeah, I did. I could never have imagined it would be like this big, and also I've got to say how lovely everybody is about it. Like people have been so nice. I was a little bit nervous about sort of putting it out there on TikTok and that, but
Mm-hmm.
oh, I Sazza, and everybody, all the fans of it have just been amazing. Everybody's lovely. Everybody wants this to be good and is enjoying it and is just really well, I don't know, good, well spirited about it. I don't know
It's
what I'm trying to say.
it's no, I get it. I absolutely get it because I have played a plethora of games. I have done every kind of RPG out there possible, and legitimately, this game was a breath of fresh air. You can definitely tell Larian Studios put the love, the blood, sweat, and tears into this game. They like you can tell that you guys were fans, at least on some level, of the fantasy world. Everything about this shows that dedication to it, and we, as a fan, I appreciate this more than anything. Quite possibly, I don't know if I should be proud of this, but I think I put close to 200 hours into this game, and I know my friends had put more into it. I've done Act One 12 to 15 times now. I I just love redoing it. It's
Yeah. How
just
many times
it's
did you kill Sazza? That's the question.
what's that?
How many times did you kill Sazza?
Oh, Sazza. So here's the thing. Technicality here. I think I've only killed her 5 times. One time I actually decided to go like pure bad. And like I brought the goblin camp to her. Spoilers, ladies and gentlemen. I teamed up with the goblin camp and we attacked the tieflings and the druids. By the way, which was one of the most horrific scenes I think in this entire game ever, was going down, murdering the women and children, tieflings. Oh yeah, no, that like it's like, hey, you have to go down and kill them all. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And there's the little boy, and I'm like, oh dear Lord, we're
Oh
going
my
there.
God.
It's just a game. It's just a game. It's just a game. I can do this. Eldritch Blast.
Oh dear.
It
That's
was, but it was fun. It's absolutely fun.
Just
Um,
discover. That's the thing. You can spend forever.
ungodly amount of hours.
Yeah.
You really did just share a funny story, but I'm curious. Was there any memorable moments during recording this by setting this up? Was there that really stand out for you? Was there any interactions?
There was one other day which was really fun. So if you've met the character Damon, the guy who plays him is Fraser
Mhm.
Blacksland. Sorry, Fraser, if I've ruined your surname there. But he also directed me on a couple of sessions. So he
Mhm.
he directed me on this one session, and that's when he was just looking through my characters, and he was like, "You play 18 different characters in this?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's really cool." And he was like, "Have a look at them." And on this screen where you usually have your avatar, they can
Mhm.
actually put a character on there as
Mhm.
well. So he put on all of my characters on top of each other and made this weird, like 16-armed beast, weird creature that was like, had a dragonborn's head and then had a goblin's face sticking out of its torso. And then because it was all like linked up to motion capture, I could just dance around the room and this weird creature thing around it. That was really fun. Yeah, that was a fun day. you know, honestly, we were working very hard, but you know, we had some messing around parts. Yeah, that was really fun. And just in general, like, everybody was fun. Everybody was really, it was really, really cool. I loved all of it. Every time was good.
That's awesome. Do you feel like you were in shape for all the mocap, or do you feel like you should definitely get in shape for doing mocap?
Yeah,
Because
they
it
did.
looks like a lot of work.
It is. They do. So to sort of link up the sensors with the equipment, you have to
Mm,
do these like little exercises as well to start with. So you have
mm.
somebody there, it's like telling you how to do all this leaning over, and you have to do, like hold your arms up and twist them around and do your legs, and you have to lunge in various different ways. And so even doing that, I was like, oh my god, it's really hot. So yeah, I wasn't. Oh yeah, a bit out of shape for that. And it depends also the characters, because you can, you know, when I was doing Sazza, I was sort of hunched forward. I had like my sort of bait or my, you know, I was standing my leg really far apart and really low. And so that really hurt like my leg muscles at the end of it. So I'm like all scrunched together. Um, yeah, I should probably have got a bit fitter before I didn't realize.
But you know, you didn't really know, right? In your defense, and uh, so, but kind of going into Saz a little bit because we have kind of like cherry picked around her. Um, for those of you who don't know, Sazza is this just impeccable little. I love you, Holly. You're an amazing person, but Sazza is this nasty, mean little goblin, but that was captured. She's a, you know, she has a very unique personality, that's for sure. Um, you know, they kind of gave you some little bit of information, but you know, how did you really develop this character? And you know, was there any like particular movements you made sure to do to make her seem more organic?
um, I guess just giving her that was her stance when I got into Sazza mode. This is how I stand. This is where my legs go, and I like that was her. And it was just always remembering to be nasty. So
Mm.
when I, you know, once I found out I was doing a D&D game, I looked at D&D goblins a bit more to get sort of, you know, a bit more into them and embody them a bit more. And they're all nasty. You know, you get all these little pictures online of goblins, but not these ones. And so it was just making sure that she could be funny and stuff in places, but she always had to have that mean streak. You know, you thought, oh, she might, you know, might be, is there some sort of redeemable qualities for her? No. Just like, um, and yeah, I guess that was sort of the main feature of her.
Okay.
She always had to be nasty.
You
Um,
just that extra little like piss and vinegar in it, right?
yeah, that's it. And it was like we had, so you have a motion cap or like a movement director and a voice director at the same time directing you on both sides. And oh yeah, this was they were always just like make her mean, make her horrible. Oh.
Be meaner.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, it
awesome.
was literally like
That's
you want to butt this person, like really bring it out.
that's awesome. So we kind of did this backwards because I did want to talk to you about your nerdy fandoms there a little bit because you are a nerd, which
I
is
am a bit.
great. There's no look, let it fly. Like I'll be honest, like can't really see it, but I have the D&D tattoos on there, and then one of the guys, he's British too, which is great. His name's Sam. He's this wonderful dude. He got me, him and my friend Seth got me into Vampires the Masquerade. So they got me LARPing, my first LARP ever, and I had to get it tattooed on me. So yeah, like I'm major here. So, but you know, what are some of the nerdy fandoms that you are a fan of?
So when I was growing up, me and my brother were very much into Marvel, and he would collect all the X-Men comics, and I collected all the Spider-Man comics. So love it, did love a bit of Marvel, still do. I really love. I guess my biggest fandom, this is really sad, is Labyrinth. You know the film.
Yes,
Yeah, I love it, and it's great, and it's always made me want to do like puppetry and stuff as well. And actually, you know, goblins, so it works. It's come.
it,
It's come.
goblins are just like that is your oh my god, if you should totally get like I don't know, do you have any tattoos?
I do, I do. Yeah,
I was gonna say you need to get like a little heart tattoo with Sazza's face in it, but you need to get it like that like comic book art style of Sazza.
cool.
Like I would that's
Really cool. Yes, I
um
love them. I collect loads of stuff to do with Labyrinth.
okay.
Yeah, I've got like, yeah, lots of stuff that I collected. Um
Now, was it David Bowie himself that like really made you into it, or was it just like the Jim Henson art style?
Yeah, I think the style absolutely, it's just great, and I love that it's still like my mate was watching it with my 5-year-old recently, and he loved it as well, and I think it's just kind of magical
Mhm.
depending on whatever age you are, and I love it, and um there's that. Also, Back to the Future, massive
Mhm.
fan of that. I do also have loads of stuff that I've collected from that. My brother always find little funny things to send me in the post, little surprise things like at the moment he's been sending me loads of things from like He-Man 80s cartoons. So he keeps sending me
Yes.
things from that, which I got all over my bag. Yeah, I just yeah, lots of things really.
Now, because you're a Back to the Future fan, were you able to get your hands on one of those? When they did the anniversary, they did the Pepsis.
Yes, the glasses.
You
Yeah,
got one?
my brother bought
Shut
me.
up.
Yeah, he did. He bought me
Oh,
one. It was very exciting. That was really cool. Yeah,
I
I
love
love.
how excited you just got about that too, by the way.
So excited. Yeah, that was really cool. I went to Comic Con last time I went. I was dressed
Mm,
as Martin McFly. I was
mm.
like Martine McFly because I kind of did like a
Rocket.
lady version. That was great fun, and I've always got that. If there's ever like a fancy dress party, I'm like, I'm going as Martin McFly. I've got it. I've got the outfit. I'm ready to go. I went to see the musical recently, which was great. No,
There's
you
a
say
musical?
it's brilliant. It's so good. It's brilliant. Yeah. If it comes to the US, you have to go and see it. It's the best musical I've ever seen. I love it.
Spam a lot. Spam a lot. Come on.
But I was so because I was excited, but I was a bit like, I love it so much. Am I going to be like judging this really hard? I'm not going to like it. But it's great.
Okay.
It's great.
Okay, cool, cool. I like how they're taking stuff like that because they did Beetlejuice as a musical now.
Really?
And oh, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know
Yes, they
that.
have a Beetlejuice musical over here in the States.
Wow. I saw when I was in New York a very, very long time ago. At midnight, I went to see the Evil Dead musical. It was so good. And if you sat in the front 2 rows, they gave you something like a plastic bag to wear because you got squirted with fake blood.
Oh
That
my
was a
God.
good
All right. So next time you come over to New York, you need because I live in Connecticut, which is about like an hour away from like New 2 hours, ish. My friends are going to give me hell because apparently I'm terrible with time, like differentials, in navigation wise or driving wise. But like 1 to 2 hours, we'll say that. Uh, I live in Connecticut. You got to come over here. We'll take you to all of the stuff over here. There's a huge Ren fair and all that stuff. I'm
Oh, I'd
telling you.
love to come. That sounds great fun. I'd
Oh
love to
my
go.
gosh. I'm sure it's not as cool, but like I said, you're from the UK, which is like the home of like nerd culture. LARPing, you guys take it to the nth level. You guys are the home. You are the holy land of like nerd culture. Warhammer 40K is over there. Warhammer World is over there. You have so much art, like Doctor Who, man. Like you've got all the cool stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
You guys are like that's where nerds need to go is just like go to the UK, man. Like you
I'm
guys are
all
so
about.
cool. Um, so before we wrap this up, I told you this beforehand. We were going to pop quiz you. I have we're not going to judge you, but we're secretly going to judge you. Uh, a series of questions here, just a few of them, about goblins.
Oh my god. Okay.
uh, I didn't know any of these. I'm not gonna lie. I've been doing D&D for 27 years, and I didn't know it. I knew one,
Oh,
and that's
God.
about as good as you're gonna get out of me. All right, because you guys use a different system for weight and height, I will accept centimeters and kilograms. I don't
Okay.
do stones because I can't do the conversion. All right, that's just witchcraft right there. Um, so we'll start with this first. At what age do goblins reach adulthood?
Um, 56.
Well, that would be that's almost they're actually when they die. They
Oh,
die at
okay.
60. So that would be a terrible adulthood. The average now, this is according to Wizards. All right, this is according
Okay.
to Wizards. This is Dungeons and Dragons. The average or the goblins reach adulthood at the age of, you ready for this?
Mhm.
8. Eight.
Okay.
You
8.
so Sazza could have been like 10 years old. and which actually checks out for like my son who is 12 and acts like a little goblin.
There's a goblin child in Baldur's Gate who I also played who's called 8. That's his name.
No way. Where's he at?
He is kicking a dead body at some point. And yeah.
It's in the goblin camp?
No, I don't think so. Where is he? I haven't played. I've seen him. I haven't played it. So my friend Freya loves D&D. She absolutely loves it. She is on a mission to find all 18 of my characters. She's on her own secret quest when she plays.
Oh, I love your
she sent
friend.
me clips. So I don't know. I have to ask her where she found him.
Oh my God, that's I'm gonna go find that now. I want to just like I'll start a new character just to find that and be like, I'm complete. All right, seriousness. We're serious. We're professionals here, Holly. We know what we're doing. All right, going back to what is the average height of a goblin?
Oh my god, I'm so bad at this. I don't even. I can't.
Like I said,
100 centimeters.
You're in it. You're in your window.
Good.
So the window is 91 to 106 centimeters for those of us in the United States. That's 3 to 3.5 feet. Sometimes they say 4 feet tall. That's the big ones. That's like
Okay.
that's the tall ones.
And now I'm understanding why I got cast. I'm only 5 foot, so that's right. She giggled.
What is the average weight of a goblin?
Do I have to? What am I doing this in? Is this in kilos? What am I doing it
in? You can do kilos. Just don't do
Okay.
stones. I can't do the conversion for stones.
Right, I'm gonna go 35.
You're a heavy goblin. The average is 21 to 24 kilos.
Okay.
I've
been eating a lot of cakes. That's fine.
All right. Now here is the hard question here.
These weren't hard. These are already hard.
Trust me, I was giggling. I'm like, I know none of these, but I'm going to judge her so hard over here. What two creatures? I'll give you a hint. They're animals.
Okay.
Do goblins have a near pathological fear and hatred of?
Ooh. Are they real animals?
They're real animals.
Okay. All right then. Cats
No.
and frogs.
Horses and dogs. So you were off with one. Like you were getting there. You're like, yeah, let's pick a domestic. I don't know why they have a pathological fear of these animals, but
I need to know why.
Yeah, but next time, when you do decide to do a goblin character, if they just because there's no doubt in my mind they're going to do a Baldur's Gate 4 now, and you've got to go be another goblin in there. Now to be afraid of horses and dogs, especially when Scratch comes into play. Oh, I wonder if that's in the game. I never even thought about that. What? Because you can take Scratch as a companion.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if they put that in the game. Now I got to go find this out now. God, this is the problem with this damn game. But Holly, it has been absolutely amazing to have you on the show. Truly has been a blast. I've loved nerding out with you here. I've loved learning about everything that went into your character. I love learning, like, just geeking out with you in general. But unfortunately, we do have to wrap this up. So where can the good people out in Nerd Nation find you?
So you can find me on TikTok. So I'm under @HobbitHolly, or you can find me on Twitter, or X, as I think it is now, and that's @HollyMichaelUK. So you come and find me for goblin fun.
Absolutely. And I was, now that I know you are playing D&D, I would absolutely love to do a game with you because, oh my God, if I could get you to, oh my God. All right. I'll take this bit out if I need to, but are you allowed to do the Sazza voice whenever you want, or is that like copywritten?
No, I think so. There's nothing. I got my agent checked with the NDA and stuff, so.
So you can just do the Sazza voice whenever you want, or obviously you can't be Sazza, but you can be a goblin voice. And
yeah,
everything.
I think so. I've been doing it on TikTok and stuff. So
do you do it out in public and everything now? Do you find yourself just doing it? I'm sorry. I know I was like, let's wrap this up, but I'm like, I gotta know. Like, I promise you,
people taking too long on the tube, and I'm like, get out of the way, walk me. That's what,
You find yourself randomly doing it. You're like, you're looking for the milk and everything. Where's it at?
That's what I have to do. Maybe I should do it. I'll do it if I go to Comic Con.
I'm telling you, this is a missed opportunity if you don't. I'm telling you, got to. So when is the Comic Con? When is
in
Comic-Con?
London. I'm going on Saturday, which I think is the 28th of October at MCN Comic Con in London. So if anybody's coming, look out for me.
Yes, look for her. I'm telling you, dress as Sazza. Like, people will flock to you. Ladies and gentlemen, go find this lady. Holly, you are truly a treasure. Like, I have had so much fun on this interview with you. This has been an absolute blast.
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it, even though I've shown myself up as not knowing much about it.
Look, like I said, in your defense, I have 27 years of, which makes me cry a little bit. Think about that. I'm 37, so since like I was 10, I've been doing D&D, and I was like, no, never knew that. Never knew. So let's go ahead and wrap this up. As always, please like, subscribe, and follow us wherever you're listening to us on podcasts. If you are listening to us on Apple or Spotify, please remember to rate and review. We're also on Instagram and Facebook, so please like and follow us at DNA Pod or on our website, nerddnapod.com. I'm your host, Steve Pugh, and I have been joined by the most lovable of all goblins, the wonderful Sazza, Holly Marie Michael. Madam, thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me. I've had a great time.
Thank you, and good night.